So, Davison month. Seems only fitting that somebody talk about his final story, and why not be me? I mean, you don't know me. Maybe? Because that little cameo?
I'm wondering if you can come back to do stuff.
Davison month. Yeah. I doubt it. I'm David, by the way. And this is the Caves of Androzani. I'm sure you've heard of it. The Caves of Androzani is a 1984 story written by Robert Holmes, directed by Graham Harper, starring Peter Davison as the Fifth Doctor and Nicola Bryant as Perry. It is the penultimate story of the show's 21st season, and acts as Peter Davison's departure and the introduction of Cullen Baker as the Sixth Doctor. There are many things that can and definitely have been said about the Caves of Androzani that another video on can feel slightly redundant. However, I do believe I have something to add to the discussion surrounding this story, and that is how it is the ultimate culmination for Five's character. This is something that has been previously discussed on this channel by Will, and that's how this Doctor is starkly different from his predecessors. The largest of these differences is that his ability to take command of the situation is severely lacking, especially coming off the back of 4 and 3, who could waltz into any given situation and immediately be in charge due to their immense presence. 5, on the other hand, is a Doctor with a much weaker disposition, leading to many scenarios in which he is left to be at the mercy of those in command. This is an aspect of his character which I believe is most present in this story. No matter what situation he is placed in, or which character he interacts with, bar Perry, he is almost constantly on the back foot. Despite any and all efforts to become more of a commanding presence, he falls flat. I believe that this is best demonstrated in the first scene between him and General Challeck.
Stand there. Couldn't we have a chair? It's been rather a strenuous day.
You will stand there until I finish with you. And when you address me, you will call me Sir.
And later, during his interactions with Sharis Jack.
We shall become the best of companions.
What do you say, Perry? We can go on nature walks, have picnics, and jolly evenings around the campfire.
Don't mock me, Doctor.
The common theme to notice is Fivey's attempts to undermine his captors with minimal success. He is, in a way, constantly trying to emulate his predecessor's successes, without realising that he doesn't have the same aura of authority that his predecessors did. It can even be seen with his companions, where they fail to take him seriously and are constantly argumentative with him. This is well documented with companions such as Adric.
You do not have the monitor skill, Adric, and even if you did, I am not going back into E-space! Then I will find someone who will take me!
Tegan.
Call yourself a Time Lord. Broken clock keeps better time than you do. At least it's accurate twice a day.
And this story's own Perry, and it's due to this that the main conflict of the story actually begins. Perry fails to heed the Doctor's advice throughout the opening of this story, which leads her to stumble and fall into a Spectrox nest.
Be careful not to slip.
The Doctor and Perry are constantly facing danger, mostly due to the Doctor's lack of control of his surroundings. He gets moments where he manages to take some form of control, but they're fleeting, and often end with him in another form of custody. This is a continuous theme throughout the story, and it culminates here.
Doctor! Unlock this door! What are you doing in there? Are you going to open this door or not?
Ah, Stutzy! Have you had a good rest?
This is the moment when Five finally learns how he can be effective in his own unique way. He realises that he creates a sense of security amongst his foes, and he can attempt to undermine this. While similar to previous Doctors, specifically 2, Five never really intends to create these situations. He spent so much of this incarnation trying to emulate his more domineering selves. He is a Doctor of clinging to past glories without understanding how his successes were unique to his prior lives, but now he knows that his strength is in his focus, and at that moment the only thing he has is correcting his mistake. To save Perry.
Not a very persuasive argument, actually, Stutz, because I'm going to die soon anyway. Unless, of course,
I'll give it to a count of 3!
Unless, of course, I can find the antidote. I owe it to my friend to try because I got her into this. So you see, I'm not going to let you stop me now.
Another consistent element to this Doctor's tenure that is linked to his character and arc is death. In so many of his stories, he and his companions are the sole survivors, and it's on full display in Season 21, with stories like Warriors of the Deep and Resurrection of the Daleks, which triggers a companion exit for Tegan. Math's death is consistent throughout Five's tenure, and is most often linked with Five's meek and mild nature. This, once again, is prevalent in this story. Towards the end, war breaks out. All of the side characters that are introduced over the course of the story are wiped out. Sharaz Jack, Morgus, Stotts, and General Chelek all meet their gruesome ends in the course of the final engagement. The deaths seem to have no end in sight, but this is where the story finds a new aspect of Five's character to finalise. Due to his aforementioned revelations, the Doctor's sole focus at this point is on Peri and ensuring her survival, and the odds are stacked against him. Throughout the story, the audience has been shown the declining health of both the Doctor and Peri due to Spectrox poisoning. Even the cure is difficult to reach, let alone consume. But due to the Doctor's newfound resolve, he fights and runs, caring little for his safety just to save this woman he barely knows. One of the most iconic images of this episode is on the surface of Androzani Minor, the Doctor limping, carrying Peri back to the TARDIS as the Spectrox poison continues to erode his health while the ground erupts around them. The most tragic thing about this story is in his final hours, Five truly realises his potential, but he makes one small mistake. Just as he reaches the TARDIS door, inches away from safety, his body jolts and spasms, causing him to drop one portion of the cure. The hope fades from his eyes as his newfound confidence erodes with the acceptance of his mortality. It reminds me of the scene from The End of Time. You know the bit where Ten is going on about how he
Could do so much more!
But it's encapsulated with just a look from Peter Davison. And with Five, it feels more earned, as now his potential has been truly unlocked, only for him to not be able to utilise any of what he has learned about himself. It ultimately makes his sacrifice of giving Peri the remaining cure all the more poignant. Five's death means so much more than just the end of an era. It's the perfect conclusion for a Doctor who was surrounded by tragedy and death, and had no ability to change that. And when he finally could, his time had run out.
Doctor?
You're expecting someone else?
I...
That's three eyes in one breath. Makes you sound a rather egotistical young lady.
What's happened?
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
So yeah, that's the case of Androzani. I don't know how to end this. Lava monster.